So, you're looking at starting your CIMA qualification. Awesome. But right away, you hit this critical crossroads. There's one big question you need to answer before you do anything else. And honestly, it can feel a little confusing. Let's clear that up right now. So, what's it going to be? The traditional exam route? Or this newer thing, the Finance Leadership Program? You know, the FLP? It's the first major decision on your CIMA journey, and by the end of this explainer, you'll have a crystal clear idea of which path is the right one for you.
All right, here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we'll frame the choice you're facing. Then, we'll define exactly what the FLP is and walk through the journey step by step. After that, we'll really dig into whether this path is a good fit for you personally, and then we'll wrap it all up with the one big takeaway you absolutely need to remember.
Okay, so let's jump right into that crossroads we mentioned. You're ready to commit to CIMA, but there are two very different ways to get to the exact same globally recognized qualification.
Look, if you're feeling even a little bit confused trying to weigh the pros and cons here, trust me, you are not alone. This is hands down the most common question we see from aspiring CIMA professionals.
So, with that in mind, let's really explore this alternative path. What exactly is the Finance Leadership Program? You can think of it as a modern answer to the demands of today's busy professionals.
Okay, so at its heart, what is the FLP? It's simply a new way to earn your CIMA qualification. And here's the absolute game changer. You do it without having to sit a traditional written exam for every single subject. Now that is a huge shift from the classic route, right? So instead of the old cram for the exam model, the FLP is built on a totally different philosophy. It really requires a different mindset. It's less about memorizing for a test and more about continuously learning, developing practical skills, and immediately applying what you learn to real-world business scenarios. Okay, that sounds good in theory, but how does it actually work, day to day? Let's walk through the whole FLP journey so you can really picture what your studies would look like. Everything, and I mean everything, happens on an online platform. So you're logging in, you're working through these short, manageable learning modules, you're testing your knowledge with practice questions, and you're getting involved in these case-based activities that really make the concepts stick. And this is the absolute core mechanic of the FLP. Once the system sees that you've mastered all the skills for a certain level, you get to completely bypass those individual subject exams. You just skip them, and you move straight to the big case study exam for that level. Now, don't worry, the overall structure isn't some crazy new thing. It's still there. The FLP path follows the exact same 4 CIMA levels you already know, from certificate all the way up to strategic. The destination is identical. It's just the road you take to get there that's different. And you can see that progression laid out right here. So for the certificate level, it's all about proving what you know through those online modules. Then, once you get to the operational, management, and strategic levels, you do all your learning online, and the only formal exam you have to worry about is that big integrated case study for that level. That's it. Okay, so now we've covered what the FLP is and how it works, but here's the million-dollar question, right? Is this the right path for you? Let's figure that out. And really, this all comes down to a bit of self-assessment. The FLP isn't better, it isn't worse. It's just different. So what kind of person really thrives in this kind of environment? So who is this really built for? Well, it's an absolutely fantastic fit if you're a working professional who's trying to juggle a career, maybe a family, and your studies. It's also perfect for people who just prefer that steady, continuous learning model instead of those super high-pressure exam seasons. And hey, if you know deep down that traditional written exams are a huge mental block for you, or you just need the most flexible study schedule possible, well, the FLP was pretty much designed with you in mind. So let's boil it down to the most crucial difference. Path number 1, the traditional route. You're sitting multiple, high-stakes written exams for every single subject. Path number 2, the FLP route. You swap all of those individual exams for this continuous online learning, leaving you with only the big case study exams at the end of each level. See the difference? All right, let's bring this home. We're moving to our final section, and I want to boil this all down to the single most important thing you need to remember when you're making this decision. Okay, lean in because this is it. This is the big one. It doesn't matter which path you take, FLP or traditional. You end up in the exact same place. You earn the exact same ACMA and CGMA designations. I'm going to say that one more time because this is so important.
It is the same qualification with the same global recognition. The FLP is not an easier or lesser version of CIMA. It is simply a different, more flexible way of getting to that same prestigious, globally respected qualification. That's all it is.
So, there you have it. You've got the facts, you understand the structure, you get the process, and you see the different philosophies behind both routes. Your CIMA journey is about to begin. The only question left to answer is, which path are you going to choose?